Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. I probably should mention the fact that there has been a little bit of press for the Master Universe movies. Now, we've had no real reveals. I mean, there was a standee of what looked like a Christopher, was it Christopher? What's his name? Nicholas Galtzine, or whatever his name is, on some sort of green tiger cringer battle cat looking thing that was spotted somewhere in the background of a photo. So there's been a few little hints of maybe what we're going to see. But a few interviews now from cast, and some of them making some big sort of statements like, the film's not one big joke, that, the audiences are going to get the sort of world and universe they wanted, that there's some sort of hype that they're actually spending the money on creating the universe. It's not all set on Earth. Maybe it goes to Earth for a bit or starts on Earth, but it's not all set on Earth. It's not like the first film where they're getting out of creating Eternia and spending money by, having it all take place on Earth and just having people in, Master Universe costumes run around LA or something like they did in the first film to save money. Not that didn't work. I really love the first film. I think it's underrated, and people are really nasty to it just because. And I even love Dolph Lundgren's just weird trying to act sort of thing, because, I don't know, it kind of works for He-Man on some level. He's pretty basic, and that's okay. He just needs to protect us. He doesn't need to solve things with some intellectual prowess or anything. But yeah, so a little bit of talk, but it's mostly just people being interviewed. No big, empire reveals with, production photos or production art or anything like that. Mostly just people talking to small magazines and just making reasonably strong statements, that the film's good and fans are going to get what they want, and it's not just a joke, it's not just silly, and it's like, there's so many things going against it. Jared Leto has a bad reputation, and he's had a couple of films in a row that have bombed, including Tron, Ares, and I don't know if the stink of that is going to be, dispersed before we get to Master Universe being released. And there's the whole race swapping issue where the more you see the characters that are being race swapped, you are reminded that there's no way you can get the original He-Man vision that you had as a kid. You're not going to see your characters on TV, on the big screen that, like they were on TV, because they've been race swapped. So Man-at-Arms is not going to be the, gruff, red-headed, white soldier guy. Ram Man's not going to be a big, dumb white guy. They're going to be Asian guys, and Idris Elba, and I love Idris Elba, and the other Asian guy looks fine, but why couldn't he have been Jitsu? Why couldn't he have been Clamp Champ? Why do we have to race swap some of the bigger characters rather than just highlighting the characters who haven't? I'd rather see a story that actually involves other characters like Jitsu and Clamp Champ that has the diversity than have the main characters race swapped. And people say, oh, you can't say race swapped, you're racist. I'm like, no, this show was diverse. It did have characters that were from different races. And for the most part, there's not a lot of humans in the story anyway. Most of them are monsters and creatures. So, that's not the sort of issue that it would be today. You can have a diverse cast and half of them are playing aliens. You wouldn't even know who's black and white. They're red and green. Literally, people say, I don't care about black or white or red and green and yellow. Well, there are literally red, green, yellow, aliens and monsters in this show. But, so it's just looking pretty messy, and I just why couldn't they just do a faithful recreation of the Master Universe, cartoon universe, just a bit more sophisticated, a bit more adult, just fun enough, to be fun, but serious enough to be taken seriously as a film, and just give us that. And if that failed, then do some wild, over-the-top, violent, aggressive, race-swapped film, or some really lame cartoon, not take it seriously, take on it. Do those takes after you've failed at the adaptation. Adapt the franchise first, faithfully, and then if that doesn't work, the idea they just assume that won't work, that, the old series is lame, no one wants to see that on the big screen. Yeah, that's what we've been waiting for 30 years. That's what people specifically want. But they're just going to give us their take because, that'll be better. We can do it better than the original that's been around for 30 years, that's had longevity and legendary iconic status. No, we can do better with our version. It's got that sort of taint to it. So not bothered. I'm not going to see it in the cinema. I don't go to the movies anymore. I'm dead. I speak from the afterlife, as you'll know. So I wouldn't be seeing it in the cinema anyway. I'll be getting it on DVD. I still haven't watched Barbie or Superman. Oh, I've got so many movies that are just piled up. Wicked. I haven't seen any of them because I didn't see them in the cinema, and I haven't had the time to spend an afternoon or a day just giving them the time they need to really watch them. So I don't know when I'm actually going to watch it, but I don't care because it's not going to be the film I want. It's not going to be the TV series adapted, but more sophisticated and with a bigger budget. It's going to be some weird forced diversity, updated comedic, mocking the original. It's going to have I can tell it's going to have a real sarcastic, making fun of the characters because they don't think the general public can take them seriously, so they're just going to mock them. So the fans are going to be slapped in the face by all their characters, their beloved characters, being changed, race swapped, mocked, and made a joke out of. In the bigger picture of a sort of serious action film, so I think the way they're doing it, so saying, it's not one big joke. No, it's just every single character being made into a joke along the way of some bigger sort of generic story. So I don't see anything really positive for this. I just see doom and gloom. And I know as soon as you say race swapped, if you're a white person, I say racist. But like I said, there's Sunman, there's Clamp Champ, there's Jitsu, there's Ninja, there's Slamurai, there's a bunch of Asian and black characters they could have highlighted in this film with a diverse cast and left the white characters white. They could have just played them down so they don't get all the attention. So it is more of a even, thing, which is fine. I'd like to see those smaller characters, get more time and be more important. But instead of doing that, because they're not brand recognized, no one's going to know who the hell Slamurai is, or even Jitsu for that part. So instead they just race swap the main characters so we can have a diverse cast, which is good, but they did it with the wrong characters, so it's a mess. And it just slaps you in the face and says, not your He-Man, bitch. Go away. And I'm like, well, then who's paying for this show? If you're not giving the fans what they want and they're not going to come repeat, and buy all the merchandise, because they're going to have a big push. They're going to have all these characters are going to be, in 12-inch Mondo and probably another scale, and then Origins versions as well. And they're expecting us to buy it all. Well, we're not going to buy them if they're slaps in the face, every single one of them. And then we're going to get blamed if it doesn't, do well. And it could take down Master Universe. If the film flops and no one buys the toys, remember Revolution, how the first one started off because they fooled people into thinking it was going to be a continuation of the original cartoon, and then it wasn't, and it was a slap in the face, and no one came back for the second season. It dropped off in the first season, didn't come back ratings-wise for the second season, and no one bought the toys. You can still get them on sale. I've been debating buying Stinkor for a couple of years, and it's been sitting there for a couple of years, getting cheaper and cheaper, which is why I keep thinking of getting it, because they haven't done a Masterverse Stinkor or a Vintage Stinkor, but I'm just waiting for that. So these figures, they didn't sell. The show was a bomb. If this movie's the same, there's going to be a whole lot of merchandise that doesn't sell, and that, I think, might hurt the other Master of the Universe lines. So I'm a bit worried that this is going to be a disaster, a franchise ending or pausing, situation like the first movie, where the TV show was cancelled, the toys were being overshipped, and there was nothing to support them, and the film came out. It wasn't really Eternia, the story like we wanted, and just, it flopped, and that was sort of the end of He-Man. So we may get the same scenario. We may get that perfect storm of disaster with this film. That's what I'm seeing and what I'm predicting. So I just want to talk about the fact that there have been interviews, there have been cast sort of talking up the film and saying it's great and trying to alleviate some of our anxieties about it being a joke or a comedy or something. But it's not looking good, I don't think. I mean, if it can get some sort of general mass audience appeal, maybe it'll do okay. But I don't see the real fans coming back, watching it and coming back for more and buying all the merch. If it's, specifically trying to go in the opposite direction and do something different because they say there's something wrong with the original source, the original, thing that we want to see. So it's a mess, and I'm nearly at 10 minutes. I need to stop talking. But yeah, so some interviews are talking it up, but I'm calling doom. I'm calling it's going to flop. Unless they have somehow managed to drastically misrepresent the film and what's actually going to be and what we're actually going to see. I think this is going to be a huge failure, and it may take down the whole franchise for now. It'll come back again. It'll go into hibernation like it did after the first sort of film killed it, and 2000X didn't revive it. It keeps coming back. It won't totally go away, but that's because it's the original He-Man that keeps going. But they keep denying us the original He-Man because they think it's lame or something. So they keep wanting to do a better version, their version, instead of just giving us our version in whatever format it's supposed to be, another TV series or a movie. So, and this happens with franchises and fans all the time. It's become really predictable and depressing because it's just, you can see it coming, and how this syndrome keeps repeating itself, I don't know, but I'm seeing it. But I'm going to go.